Clare Richardson in Washington. This is BBC World News America. Sir Keir Starmer suggests President Trump should apologize following his claim that NATO troops stayed back from the front line during the war in Afghanistan.
And so I consider President Trump's remarks to be insulting and frankly appalling. And I'm not surprised they've caused such hurt to the loved ones of those who were killed or injured.
A feud between President Trump and Canadian Prime Minister Mark Carney escalates after the U.S. president withdrew Canada's invitation to join his Board of Peace. And Ukrainian, Russian, and U.S. negotiators meet in Abu Dhabi for the first three-way talks since the war began. Welcome to World News America. I'm Clare Richardson. Britain's Prime Minister Sir Keir Starmer has suggested President Trump should apologize for comments that NATO troops stayed away from the front lines in Afghanistan. Now, there's been a backlash from other NATO countries as well as Prince Harry and U.S. lawmakers. President Trump made those remarks speaking to Fox News on Thursday evening. Let's take a listen. Well, a feud between President Trump and Canadian Prime Minister Mark Carney is escalating after the U.S. president withdrew Canada's invitation to join his Board of Peace. Now, as we heard earlier this week, Prime Minister Carney was speaking of a rupture in the U.S.-led global order, that at the World Economic Forum in Davos, Switzerland. And those remarks were later criticized by President Trump. Here are some of the comments that they've been making to one another. Of course, there is more on all the day's news as well on our website, bbc.com/news. To see what we're working on at any time, you can check us out on your social media site as well. I'm Clare Richardson in Washington, D.C. From me and the whole team here working behind the scenes, thanks so much for watching World News America. I'm Clare Richardson in Washington. This is BBC World News America. The British Prime Minister criticizes President Trump's comments over NATO troops who fought in Afghanistan.
And so I consider President Trump's remarks to be insulting and frankly appalling. And I'm not surprised they've caused such hurt to the loved ones of those who were killed or injured.
The president also facing backlash at home, including from some U.S. veterans who served in Afghanistan.
UK troops were fighting and dying by the dozens and hundreds in tough fights.
Also ahead, Ukrainian, Russian, and U.S. negotiators meet in Abu Dhabi for the first three-way talks since the war began. Welcome to World News America, where we'll bring you live news and analysis from here in the United States, the UK, and around the world. Well, in his strongest rebuke yet of Mr. Trump, British Prime Minister Sir Keir Starmer has called the president's controversial comments on NATO troops serving in Afghanistan insulting and appalling, and saying if it were him, he would apologize. According to government records recently reviewed by our media partner CBS News, the 5-year-old has an active and pending case in immigration court and cannot be legally deported just yet. Well, around the world and across the UK, this is BBC News. You're live with BBC News. President Donald Trump has withdrawn an invitation for Canada to join his newly constituted Board of Peace in the latest spat between the North American neighbors. Let's show you some live footage now from Dallas in Texas. That's just one of the places under a winter storm warning and an extreme cold warning. Snow and ice expected to make travel nearly impossible by Saturday. And of course, you can scan that code right there on your screen to get the latest BBC weather forecast with all the latest updates. I'm Clare Richardson in Washington, D.C. Stay with us for more ahead.
Hello. Friday brought us some pretty stormy weather with strong winds.